How's it going, everybody? My name is Dan Longton, and welcome to LongtinArt. Today we're going to be talking about a very, very useful tool when you're trying to get accuracy in representational drawing, meaning you're trying to represent the still life, landscape, the model in a portrait painting or drawing as accurate as possible. And the reason why I'm saying this is because proportion issues are a reoccurrence that I have in all of my Drawing 1 and Drawing 2 classes that I teach in foundational levels. There's an old school method, and you've probably seen it, where you see an artist out in the field and they're holding a pencil. And they're moving the thumb and they're kind of closing one eye and doing this bit. Well, what they're doing is they're actually taking a measurement. Now, if I was taking a measurement from my head here, you can see the top of the pencil there, and I'm trying to get this as accurate as possible. And if I mark the bottom of my chin, the area from here to here is my measurement of my head. If I wanted to mark that down on my page, I would come over to my page and do a tick at the top and a tick at the bottom and get a rectangle of the height and width of measurements of my head, of my model, the still life object, or, maybe a tree in a landscape or something like that. And you absolutely can use a pencil to do that. Now, when it comes to magnifying your still life to your canvas, if you're working in a studio, there's an easier way to do that. If you were using a pencil, you would simply take that measurement, mark the top, give yourself a little tick at the bottom, and then slide your pencil back down and then give you a third tick, which would then make your height of the height of whatever you're trying to draw a double magnification enlargement. So it's not that complicated, but for some reason people can't get it. So I've actually switched over in my college courses, especially in the beginner's class, to what's called a scale divider. It is also called a proportional divider, but the concept is the same no matter what it is. It's basically two pieces of wood with a bolt that acts as a pivot point within the caliper. And you can see in this particular design, I'll hold it over here so you actually can see it, there's a space that has been routed out of both pieces of wood so that this brass bolt or pivot point can actually be shifted over closer to the edge. Let me get it a little bit more accurate so that they're at the same size. And what that does is, as you move that pivot point closer to the end, as you open it up, you can see that one side is larger than the other. So if I was taking a measurement, which I'm going to show you a picture right here of that Pez dispenser behind me, I would hold my caliper out and lock my elbow, because I don't really want to get further away in my measurements, because if I don't lock my elbow, I could always come back to a different spot and my measurements wouldn't stay consistent. So it's always a good idea to lock your elbow and take a measurement. So let's take a look at that real quick. And you can see here that in this image, the caliper, I'm basically setting the caliper the highest point to the lowest point. Now, you would do the exact same thing with the width, but after you get that measurement, and let's cut back over, that measurement, you would then flip the caliper over, and now this point and this point would be the height to the lowest portion of the Pez dispenser. I would draw it from the larger, making a Pez dispenser that's in reality, this big. I'd be able to draw it this big by using the wider portion of my caliper. So that's pretty much it on the setup of how you measure it. Now, how you would go about drawing it on your page, once you take those height and width measurements and you have your height and your width measurements, you would then use your tool to draw your horizontal and verticals. So this is how you get those rectangles, or the bounding box in which you put your objects within. So basically, you're drawing a rectangle or square around your object so that you can place the object within that bounding box of your horizontal and verticals. That way it kind of keeps you limited to that area, and that way your proportion stays the same. Once you get that bounding box, you can then draw that vertical line. If the item is in fact symmetrical, it helps to put that little vertical line in there just to get that line of symmetry going for you. Also, another thing to think about is just for demonstration purposes, I put this thing really, really close to that Pez dispenser. You really want to have your arm, when you're taking measurements, at least, an arm's length, 2 arms length away from the object you're drawing. So like if I was drawing my pug back there, I would definitely be drawing from this distance, not like right on top of it where I'm taking a physical measurement like, okay, here is the height of my object, like my finger is the object. I'm not taking a physical measurement and then going back to my paper. This is all from the same distance of at least 2 arm lengths away from your still life, and you're drawing it. Okay? It's pretty cut and dry, guys, so thanks for watching. Again, I'm Dan Longton. This is LongtinArt, and I'll see you next time.